Good morning, good morning. Back at it again. It's Tuesday, January the 10th. Wonderful day. Don't you think? That's the point. You have to think. It is a wonderful day. We're going to start our first lesson in our mini-series about communication today, and from my morning so far, I've got so many thoughts and ideas that I want to talk about. But there are many days this year, so eventually we'll talk about many things. But as promised, here's the first lesson in communication. What's the topic? Well, asking. Asking. See, communication skills is not about just the volume of your voice and how to look at somebody and all those things. That's important, don't get me wrong. But in this little series, we don't necessarily have time to get in all to the skills of your diaphragm, your throat, and your eye contact and all that. I'm sure we'll get into that sometime. But more importantly, are universal principles that come into play even in communication. They work through business, they work through relationships, they work in family, they work out on the street corner. These principles just work because they're principles. And that's what this whole video series, this whole channel is about, is universal principles, truth that work no matter what. Life skills that help you. Success principles that help. And this one is absolutely important. What is it? Get to the point, Fred. Well, asking. Yeah, that's what I said. Asking. Asking. See, we all have needs and desires and wants and wishes in life. However, the roadblocks that hold us back is not other people. It's not lack of resources. It's not your situation in life. It's not the fact that you had a bad family growing up. It's not the fact that you had a good family growing up. It has nothing to do with any of that foolishness. That's just lies you tell yourself. You have to get in control and realize the reason you don't have what you want is because you didn't ask. That's simple. It's amazing how simple life is when you really think about the basics, when you really think about boiling it all down to the nitty-gritty. Let me just go off track really quick for a second. I really believe that everything in life boils down to just two things. Our actions, our reactions, our circumstances, everything boils down to just two things. One is negative, one is positive. Fear and love. Everything boils down to one of these things. What we say, what we do, how we act boils down to either fear or love. Everything can be rooted into one of those things. I'll talk about that on another day. I had to get that off my chest. Asking. The Bible tells us, ask and you shall receive. Another scripture says, you have not because you ask not. If we keep it in context, I know sometimes it's talking about things to do with God, but the principle of asking is a universal truth. It's universal. It's not just Christian. It's not just biblical. It's not just Jewish. It is universal. So, going beyond religion this morning, you need to learn to ask. If you want to raise, what do you have to do? Number one, you have to do the work. You have to make sure that you are worth a raise. You have to make sure that you are providing enough value to the company that you're working with in order to get the raise. That's first of all. Once you know that you are worth a certain amount, that you are producing a certain amount, the only way that you will receive the raise is by asking. Notice how I prefaced the asking, though. You have to do the work first. You have to put in the time, the relationship, the ability to know people. Sometimes you just have to go out on a limb and ask strangers. That's fine. You can do that. That works wonders. I've done it many times. The principle is, if you want something, you have to ask for it. So think about this for a moment. If there's something in your life you really wanted and you've never received it, did you ask for it? Did you ask the right person for it? Am I going to be blunt this morning? If you didn't ask, you have nobody to blame but yourself. My wife always comments that I ask too much. And honestly, I don't ask enough. I still fight fear sometimes in the face of knowledge that I have to ask. Over the years in business, I've realized that if I want something, I have to go out and ask for it. And not just one person. I have to keep asking, and I have to keep asking, because eventually somebody is going to say, yes, I will help you. If somebody owes me money, a lot of times, I've got to get on the phone or get my accountant on the phone, and we have to ask for it. It's unfortunate in today's society that you have to ask people to give you money that they owe you, but that's just the way it is. That's why you get creditor calls, because you've either not paid a bill or you forgot about a bill, and then they call you up and they ask. If you don't ask, you will not receive. Here's a little story. I'll try to make it brief and to the point, but one time when we were at a provincial swim meet, we had an issue with our credit card while we were booking or checking into our hotel room. The money was on the credit card, but for some reason the credit card company decided to take an extra couple days to activate the money, and the hotel decided that they wanted all the money up front. It was all fine and good. It's their policies. But at the moment, because the money was being transferred to the credit card, we didn't have the money. So my wife got all stressed out and upset. What are we going to do? We're just getting to a swim meet. We're going to be here for 3 days. We have nowhere to stay. I said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. So I took a moment to clear my head, say a little prayer, get on the go with something. And one of the other parents walked up to me to ask me about something else. And I just went out and asked. I said, we've got a problem. Can I borrow a credit card number? I'll pay you back as soon as it's done. Or we'll just pay for it cash afterwards. This is the situation. No problem. No questions asked. Passed over the credit card, paid for the room, and everything was worked out. But if I hadn't asked, no room. I am grateful for the people that have said yes in my life. I really want to put that out there this morning. I don't want to name any names or anything because some things are confidential, but at the same time, I just want to put that out there. I am absolutely grateful for the people that have said yes in my life. And I want to be somebody that says yes for other people when they're in need. You have to ask. So in these situations in life, you got to realize that asking is the only way that you receive. And it's all part of communication. It's all part of life skills. I realize that asking for help, and yes, I've got to read a little bit off my script here because I don't have it all memorized. It can be one of the hardest things that we do, asking for help. But it's also one of the most important things that you can do in life. We don't know everything in and of ourselves. We don't have all the resources in and of ourselves. But somebody else knows, and somebody else has resources, and somebody else has answers. So get off your ego and just ask. I may be able to help, I may not be able to help, but somebody out there can help you with your situation. So ask. My first challenge to you this week: write down 3 things. I was going to say 5, but just 3. 3 things that you really want, that you can see happening. And ask some people. Ask at least 3 people for each item. Just ask. Say, can you help me with this? I really want to do this. Can you please help me? Somebody is likely to say yes. And you'll be amazed at what happens. Have a great day on this Tuesday, January the 10th. It is almost 7 o'clock in the morning for me. I got to get on with the rest of my day and get going to work. Ask, and you will receive.